I didn't mean to do that this soon. I was going to schedule it for 10 o'clock, so the camera's not quite set up. But we'll get you in place here. Oh, that's why. Hey, Jackie. Started a little earlier than I meant to, so we're getting into position here. I think I need to raise that up just a little bit more. In the meantime, you can look at the tree. So today is going to be a Q&A. Hey, Elisa. I put that I was going to go live on Discord, but I didn't mean to start this right away, so I didn't really get a chance to. Let's see, can I view? Yeah, we're gonna get down to -16 with wind chill today, or tonight, I think. Thanks, Jackie. I just gotta open my computer to get the questions. So I got about, I don't know, a dozen questions maybe from people in the comments on the last video. So I'll go through a few of those, and then we'll do the drawing for the aquamarine and rutilated quartz, which I'm on my front-facing camera, and it doesn't focus quite as well on macro images, so these probably won't look that good. But in the first video, I was gonna give away this little aquamarine, but I had this other one, which is the exact same design, but is a little bit bigger. So I'll give away this one instead to the second place winner, and then the first place will get the rutilated quartz. Hello, Rufotris. And there were only about, I think, 24 entries on the previous video, so you have about a 1 in 12 chance of winning the stones, which is pretty neat, as opposed to some other channels that are more popular where you'd have a 1 in 50 shot or maybe. Thank you. The rutilated quartz did take a while because quartz has a tendency to crack, and so it just kept getting a little bit smaller and smaller than I had originally hoped it would be, but it turned out really well, I think. Okay, so I have questions on my computer here, so we'll just get started. And hey, Greg. So I think this is in reverse chronological order, so the latest questions are first. And the Adventure Closet, which is I think a lot of these channels, or a lot of the people that commented have channels of their own, so definitely go check them out if you hear their name, and I'll try to mention if they have a channel or not. So the Adventure Closet asked, so they say the golden rutiel quartz is super cool, thank you. What geological formation is top on your US bucket list to see and why? You do awesome work, sir. Congrats on hitting this milestone. Thank you. So this is a 1,000 subscriber giveaway / AMA. So geological formation at the top of my bucket list. I really want to go see Yellowstone, which is it's within striking distance from me now. I was over in New York growing up, so Yellowstone was quite a ways away, but I'd really like to go and see the hot springs and a lot of the interesting geology over in that area, and definitely do a little bit more research before going over there, because other than, the super volcanoes and hot springs and Old Faithful, I don't have a ton of in-depth knowledge of what the area is all about, so I'll have to research that a bit. Hey, Ragnar, thank you. Wife decorated the tree for the most part. I helped a little bit. And so Manistee Rocks, which I believe they also have a channel. Congratulations. What do you prefer more, fluorite or tourmaline? Definitely tourmaline. My favorite rock is actually for a long time used to be tourmalated quartz, which is the black tourmaline in quartz, which I think looks really cool, although the golden rutile might be edging it out a little bit now that I've started to facet it. I can see it really shine. And they also ask if I ever got my hands on some red fluorite, cherry perhaps. No, I know fluorite can come in all sorts of different colors. It's one of those great pretender stones where it can be almost any color and a lot of shapes because it can form in pseudomorphs after other things like calcite or quartz. But I don't know that I've ever seen red fluorite in person, but that would be pretty interesting to see. And Peter and Marla S. asked, are there good places to find botanical imprint fossils? Now, I think I mentioned, or I think I said in the video, questions about Washington or whatever. I mean, there's definitely tons of places to find botanical imprint fossils all over the United States. I did not answer. I didn't ask. In Washington State specifically, I think there's the Stone Rose Fossil Quarry up in Republic, which is north of Spokane, is a great place to find. I think that's one of the few places I know in the state to find fossil botanical imprints specifically. Hi, Tyler. And nearby, close to Washington, down in northeastern Oregon, there's the John Day Fossil Beds, which are a World Heritage Site, I think, or if not, they're a world famous site for fossils, and I'm sure there's some botanical stuff down in there. I haven't been there either, but I think that's about 3 hours away from me, which is definitely worth going to at some point, and I plan to go there. And currently rock hounding, who does have a channel, and I'm sure everybody that's watching already knows his channel. Do you recall the moment you became interested in the world of geology? Like, what was the moment you thought to yourself, rocks? I should learn more about those, I think. That was almost always the plan, I'd say. Thanks, Gio. Hello, Corey. So I think someone else asked a similar question, kind of when did my interest in geology spark, and when did I really want to start focusing on those full time? And I was always geology straight out of high school. I declared geology as my major in college and went to graduate school for geology PhD as well. So it was always in the books for me, and it was really sparked, I think, by, in particular, my grandfather was an amateur geologist and had quite a collection, which I'll bring up a couple photos on my computer while I'm talking here. There's like over 1,000 pounds of rocks waiting for me in New York from his collection, which is also kind of mingled with my mom's rock collection that she gave me when she moved. But I just grew up around very interesting rocks and always kind of wanted to know more about them. I think we have it's a backlit amethyst slice here. Let's see. Try to find something impressive to show. This is a 1.5 inch or so piece of azurite, which I always thought was pretty cool as a bipyramidal with like little platelets that formed it. And you can see the blue of the azurite. But we've got, I have so many awesome specimens that I just kind of grew up amidst. And I always kind of wanted to know, like, how did this form? Where did they form? Why do they form? And so in further researching, let's see. In further researching, I kind of got down the geochemical route of, I want to know even more what makes them tick, what makes them form. There's some just nice simple calcite, but has a beautiful shape to it. I don't remember, let's see. And then, there's a lot of nice specimen displays. This is a quartz on galena. Do I have that tourmaline photo? So this was one of my favorite specimens growing up, was the tourmalated quartz with those really nice black tourmaline interspersed in the quartz. So yeah, that was kind of the impetus, was it was always in the back of my mind. Let's see, quartz. So this is another view of that quartz and galena, since Rufus missed it. But you got the really nice quartz hexagon with a pretty big piece of galena next to it. This is about a tennis ball size piece of galena. And then that's a, 6-inch piece of quartz or so. Unfortunately, a lot of those samples are not labeled, especially in locality, a lot of them are missing those, which is unfortunate. And so I've had to kind of guess. And actually, I mentioned this in one of my previous videos about trinitite. There's actually specimens of trinitite that I have that are in there, and they weren't labeled as that. And so I didn't know that I had those for a long time. And I can't find it, but you'll have to go watch that video, or the presentation I did about trinitite, if you want to see those samples. It's at the end of that video. Oh, and Jared also said, clearly we can all agree that basalt is the best rock out of all rocks in existence. I just wanted to state that here so everyone knows the truth. So do you deal with issues with shaky hands at all? Does that mess with your faceting, and what do you do? Shaky hands doesn't really affect faceting at all, I don't think, because the platform is stable and all you have to do is rest your hand on the, in my case, it's a handpiece that I just rested on and kind of move it back and forth. If you have a mass design, then you just have a hand on the stone, and that will help stabilize a shaky hand. If you have, shaky hands really just affects my filming, which I use a tripod or a mic stand for taking photos of the taking photos of the stones that I facet. I'd say I have relatively stable hands, but definitely when it's definitely noticeably shaky if you zoom in or something on the stones. And Jared's here as well. I just answered your question, Jared. But you got the most important part, basalt is the best. So Greg Dirksen, Greg D, who I think, I'll let him decide if he wants to announce his plans, but he says, congrats on 1K. Here's my question. Should I win? Will you ship to Canada, or should I? Yeah, I probably should have said it. I should have limited it to the United States, but since I didn't, if you win, I'll ship it to you. So actual question, what's the best material in your opinion for beginners to start with? Gollum is speaking to me. So I think a lot of people would, I think historically a lot of people say, oh, quartz is really easy to find and it's really cheap, so you should start with that. But a lot of people have lots of trouble with quartz, especially in the polishing stages where there's lots of little cat hair scratches that start forming and can propagate and cause all sorts of problems. I'm working on an amethyst right now that's kind of having that issue a little bit. So I and a lot of other fasteners would actually recommend staying away from quartz, even though it's fairly abundant, and go to synthetics. I actually think tend to be a better starting material for people to work with, where I started on the neodymium YAG, which YAG is yttrium aluminum garnet. There's a lot of varieties out there. It doesn't have to be neodymium, just YAG or synthetics of that nature. Cubic zirconia is a potential option, but since that's so hard, it may be a little slow for people to work with, whereas YAG is a little softer and a little easier to work with and takes a great polish. Or if you really want natural stone, sunstone actually polishes and cuts really well since it's soft. What's going on over there, Geode? Oh. He's blowing up the chat with some random words. Aquamarine is a great source, and you can get some cheap, relatively, maybe not the best color aquamarine, but it can be relatively cheap. Yeah, aquamarine and sunstone. Doesn't have to be the fancy sunstone, just nice clear sunstone. Those both polish up really well and are on the somewhat softer side, like 6.5 or so. So that would be my recommendation, is either a synthetic like YAG, aquamarine / beryl, or sunstone. Oh, I missed Jackie's question because I'm reading things off my computer. And Sarah in Scotland is here. That's my sister, by the way. Go subscribe to her channel if you like art and Scotland and landscapes. Let's see. Jackie asked, what do you know about helenite? My mom had a ring with it, but sadly had to sell it during hard times. Can it still be bought? Are they still making it? All I really know is that, for people that don't know, helenite is a synthetic stone that's made out of the ashes of the Mount St. Helens eruption, or like pieces of ash are in the stone. At least that's my understanding. And so I don't know if it's being made. I think I've seen a couple people working with it, but I don't really know where to buy it or where people get it from. And I have heard that a lot of people try to pass off things as helenite. I think it's a greenish glass, essentially. Sarah, I have not answered your question. Corey, I know a place. So Corey has some recommendations for things to facet. It looks like a perfect emerald. Yeah, I haven't seen any helenite in person, just a couple of passing videos on the internet, basically. So I don't think I can really help you there. Sorry. Oh, actually, Sarah, I don't have your comment in my little list of comments here. So if you want to ask it again, then I can answer it. So Ken Wynn asked, have you ever found a sunstone in Washington? I have at times found clear feldspar crystals that are very close. They seem random in finding and often have been in Columbia sands. No, the only legit sunstone I know of is the sunstone from Oregon, and everything else is basically just a feldspar. Nothing is quite the same as that sunstone from Oregon. And there are some there's actually kind of an imitation sunstone that, oh, guess what the best rock is. There's imitation sunstone coming out of China where they kind of heat treat it and to make it look like sunstone, but it's not really the same thing. Oh yeah, I did see your, I remember your question now, Sarah, yeah. Oh, which I'll answer it now, I guess. So Sarah in Scotland asked, what is the best state for rock hounding? And they all have their perks, but I think in terms of variety, I think Idaho is probably the place to go. There's a vote for Washington from Jared in the chat. Idaho is, I think it's the gem state, isn't it? Isn't that why there's a place over in Moscow, Idaho called the Gem State Crystals? I think that's because the state is the gem state. They have just tons of variety of, I mean, they have the star garnets, they have quartz and fluorite and just a little bit of everything from my understanding. Especially in the central area, there's a lot of igneous rocks that have lots of interesting crystals in them. And yeah, Rufatris says it is the gem state, 73 plus minerals and gems in Idaho. Colorado is also a pretty good place. There's I don't think he asked a question, but Rock Hounding Adventures. Kurt from the Rock Hounding podcast is based in Colorado, and he goes out and finds lots of cool stuff. And so Chris Evans asked, oh, and so there's a new one in the Idaho list. It was 72 and now they're 73. Ontario Rockhound says Ontario is the best state. So Chris Evans just got a handpiece style machine and can't wait to start using it. Do you cut indoors? If so, what do you use to keep your workspace clean? I'm contemplating doing indoors, but worried about getting water, gem, slurry everywhere. Yes, I cut indoors in my kitchen, which is around the corner there. I've taken over part of the dining area and just got a new table actually, so it's a lot more stable. And yeah, I wouldn't cut outdoors. Some people cut in their garage, but mine isn't heated or very well insulated, so it's almost as cold as it is outside in there right now. And there's not too much of a mess. It can splash a little bit if you're going at high speeds or really grinding away on a big stone, or sometimes a facet will catch the water just right and it'll splash and get places. But I have a couple of splash guards in place, and so any stuff that gets out of the splash pan will just be caught by that and settle around the immediate area. It's, you just give yourself another foot of space and you'll be fine. Have a splash guard. Use the splash guard for doing the girdle so you don't get excess water spraying everywhere. And there are modifications you can make to your machines. Like someone I know made a sort of a 3/4 cover, 3D printed cover that goes on over the lap disc and sets on your splash pan so that it doesn't splash around outside of that and you still have room to work with your stone. And then there's also, I have an adapter that I haven't installed yet, but it's a couple of little clips, and I'll put a piece of acrylic behind my faceting machine to help maintain the splash as well. So Jackie Kaya asked, my question is, if you could get your hands on any material in the world, what would that material be for your collection and also to facet? So, there's a lot of really cool materials out there, and a lot of them are actually synthetics that I'm interested in, but I can probably buy those at some point in the future. So a material that would be hard to get that I don't know that I'll ever be able to really get is a natural Paraiba tourmaline, which is this kind of electric blue-green crystal, or it's electric blue-green tourmaline that just looks beautiful. And I think Theo Kellison said it was his favorite stone. But you know, it's tourmalines. I don't know. I guess I have something about tourmalines that I really like them. And for a collection, I'd really like a lunar meteorite or a piece of the moon to have in my display case. And so Dustin Finds Rocks asked, in addition to congratulations on the 1K, why did you decide to start a YouTube channel, and what are some goals for the near and far future? Both of the stones are beautiful. Thank you, Dustin. So I was unemployed for a while, and I realized I was consuming a lot of YouTube and video and reading and researching things, and I've always been kind of a researcher. That's why I went to grad school in part and really developed that. And we went to the Idaho Star Garnet site at the Emerald Creek Star Garnet area and got those star garnets, which are the garnets, and I was trying to find, you know, how do I cut them? How do I work them to actually find a star? And I realized I found lots of varied answers to the question. Some people said, you know, tumble them and cut from the outside and get a sphere and you can see the stars and then cut from there, or just cut it in half and do this, or you gotta cut it this way or this way. And there certainly wasn't much for YouTube videos of demonstrating how to do that or kind of talking through some of those processes. It was all scattered internet forum stuff or old publications that were, you know, 50 years old and hard to get. And so I just decided to put together a little video talking about it, talking through my process of what I found and what I think a good approach was, and just decided to post that on my personal channel because I had uploaded videos to that like 10 years ago for a challenge video for my sister. If you remember that one, Sarah, it was the foosball and the Sonic commercial that we made, or that I made, which are now private and probably never see the light of day. And that one is actually my most viewed video, the Star Garnet one. That was my first video, the most viewed, just because people are really interested in it. And so I just decided to stick with it and try to share some snippets of knowledge along the way. And I don't know, do some entertaining things too. So that was Dustin's question. That was the private video was a Facebook group we had going, which was, I think, do this, record that, where we challenged, my sister and I challenged each other to do different things like make a Sonic commercial, or I forget some of the things that I challenged you to do, Sarah, but like I had to make a music video for something, and I forgot what I challenged you to do. Or make a sale for my bike, something like that. And then the last question, which is the first question, was David Ari Amir Rourke Young asked, their precious is sunstone, they can't resist it. And it's hard finding a wholesaler that's honest, straightforward, and decently priced. Where is the best sources to purchase rough from? And I've only bought only bought rocks from a couple of sources, because I got a lot of my initial stones from my local faceting guru, who let me have some stuff to work with and learn with. And so I think I'll just bring up this is my That's my list of potential sources for lapidary rough and stones, and I'll just run through them. So there's Joe Henley, which is fairly high-end stones, I believe. That's rough and gemstones. There's a place called Unlimited Gems, or Milstead Gemstones, which I think is another high-end, maybe a little pricey. There's one that has a good reputation called A&A Afro Gems, or Gems and Gems, and RG Crystals. Storied Gemstones is a new source, and I got an aquamarine from them, which looks really nice, that I'm about to dop up on the dock here pretty soon. And TMS Gems is one that I just heard of, but I also have a couple of Etsy stores that you can go check out, in addition to mine, which is just finished stones. But if you want rough stones and you like synthetics, there's one called Turtle's Hoard, which has a lot of really cool synthetics like YAG and lithium niobate and those kind of things. And Tom's Box of Rocks is another one that I like a lot. I talked to them on another Discord. And also, they don't really have too much of an internet presence, but Silver Hill Lapidary, which is in Eastern Oregon, they're on Instagram at Rocks, Splits, and Cuts, all one word, or at Rocks, Splits, and Cuts. And they have a lot of really nice material that I've seen little bits of, but he definitely will make you a deal, and he has a lot of really nice sunstone as well, if you're particularly interested in that. And that was for David's question. Oh, and I just remembered I was gonna do the giveaway drawing halfway through that, but we just finished it. So if you stuck it out this long, thanks a lot for joining me. So I'm gonna do this in real time. I gotta pull up that video again. So if you have any other questions while I do this that you wanna ask, let's see, ask about the $200 fasting machines available on eBay. Those are all junk, is my understanding. They don't have the precision machining to be repeatable, or their setup is, everything I've heard about them is that they're crap and avoid them at all cost. There is maybe a slightly cheaper machine that Justin K. Prim has. I think it's cheaper than some of the American machines, but that one he would recommend, and I would trust his recommendation for sure. I can't remember the name of his machine though. Oh, I'm doing that one live. Okay. So we just need to include the word precious. There's supposed to be hashtag #myprecious, but a couple of, oh, the Sterling machine, that's right. Yeah, thanks, Jared. So we've got the video. We're going to be using just the word precious, which you probably can't see that because it's so bright. And I'll show you this in real time so you know that we're not making things up. Let's see. So 16 comments, or 16, yeah. So we got 16 entries into that in that video. Don't want to join premium. So I think we can scroll down. I've never used this before in real life. So we'll see who the winner is for the golden rutilated quartz. The Dude Rolls Rocks, who I think he has a YouTube channel, Tumblr, mostly a tumbling channel. I checked him out once he commented on the video. So congratulations, The Dude Rolls Rocks. You can email me. I'll put my email in the text down below after the video is done, and I'll try to reach out to you on your comment. They said, faceting just requires a patience that I don't have. You have my respect. A lot of people have said that when you say that you're going to facet things, like, oh, I don't have the patience for that. But I find it's fairly relaxing, and it's really nice to see this kind of hunk of rough turn into a really nice gemstone. Okay, so now this is for the aquamarine, which the winner is Kyla Abligan, who I haven't seen before, but let's see, they said, congrats on 1K subscribers, well-deserved and more. You've only been fasting for around a year. Yes, that's true. I probably started fasting around this time last year. And actually, my first video was published, wait, no. Nope, never mind. Let's see. They liked my fasting videos. I'll definitely be doing more of those in the future. So Kyla, sorry, I thought it was Kyle. It's Kyla. My question is, what got you into rocks, geology, and gemstones? Which I guess I kind of dropped the ball on some of these questions, but that one was answered by Jared asked that similar question. So I'll comment on those videos here pretty soon, and I'll get you those stones if you. So the rutilated quartz going to the Dude Rolls rocks, which is probably not going to turn. And then I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I originally was going to give away this 0.39 carat aquamarine, but I remembered I had this other slightly larger one in the same style, so this is a 0.67 carat that I'll give away instead. And yeah, thank you all for joining me. I'll scroll back just briefly to see if anybody has any other questions, but if not, we'll be ending it here pretty soon. That was the lapidary question. Yeah, I think we're, hello to Wolfie. And yeah, so thanks all for joining me. Be sure to like and subscribe. Oh, Jared has a question. Trying to prolong the video. Can we see your music video when you hit 10K subs? Was it a music video or was it? Oh no, I did it like half animated and half just me making faces in front of the camera, I think, with like wearing shorts for a shirt or something like that. Yeah, sure, for 10K subscribers, no, that'll be 15K. For 15K subscribers, we'll do that video. For 10K, I'll do the Sonic commercial, which I actually kind of like, so I wouldn't mind posting that one. Yeah, we'll see what, yeah. It's on video now. I can't take it back. Okay, so yeah, be sure to like and subscribe and tell all your friends about what's to come in the future. Oh, I didn't answer what's to come in the future for the video, or the channel. Apparently music videos and ridiculous challenge videos, but certainly more faceting and geology and science. So, okay, I'll talk to you all later. If I can figure out how to end this. And, oh, I gotta wait for a thing to go away and then I can click on the X here. Bye, everyone. No, I can't. Oh, I was clicked on. The end.